Welcome to Rental Contracts 103, in which we'll discuss converting a reservation and creating a rental contract from pretty much beginning to end. If you haven't watched 101, the intro, or 102 that's reserved yet, you may want to go ahead and check those out. Learn a little bit about the rental process, optimization, utilization, and how to actually create reservations. So just jumping right into it, when a potential rental has been finalized, your customer picks up the unit. This is ideally the perfect time. That's when we want to actually begin our invoicing. We want to go ahead and get that payment method, and we want to go ahead and get our money. All right. If a reservation contract was already created by a salesman or anybody else, then the actual type of that rental contract will need to be changed from reservation over to an actual rental contract. So see here, I have one that's pulled up. It's already a reservation status. It's already got two pieces on it, and we want to actually take that one and move it into a rental, into billing, into a billable and billing status. So I'd like to go ahead and make sure that they're both rental, just in case one of them was stuck as held. Now let's go ahead and look at creating a rental without a reservation. So we're actually going to start out in the customer portal. You can get there just by, again, going to your customer care CRM customer portal. Takes you to a screen, looks just like this one right here. Has all of your customers' information. This is all customizable. So if yours looks a little bit different, don't worry about it. That's fine. Just as long as you have your open rental right here, you can actually come down here and go ahead and list and create them as well. So a couple things that we're going to go ahead and check out and make sure. We're going to check out their AR status. Again, if they have a specific credit limit or a good credit limit, it'll show up right here. We review that prior to creating that. Make sure that they have a credit application on file. If you see any issues, go ahead and notify either a salesman or your branch manager. Otherwise, go ahead and use this create link right down here in Open Rental. From here, our contract is actually going to open up. This is the beginning of the contract. Of course, you're still going to need in any information that would normally be required. Such as, make sure your taxes and your ship to information is all correct. Your charge method being how they're going to pay, whether it be 2 as cash, C as your credit card, or G as rental receivable. And make sure that your invoice start digit is correct. Invoice start digit can either be a D for deferred, or an LP as they're more commonly known, or an R as a regular rental. That will notify accounting where to actually put your money, as far as if it needs to be put away in a different account rather than your just basic rental revenue. So our contract is opened up, customer numbers pre-populated. We went ahead and fill in our taken by. If we have a PO number, please put it in there. Same thing as your ship via. Ship via is just a free form field. You can type in anything you need to in there. For example, if it's shipping via salesman's truck, you can type in which salesman's taking it, or if they're picking it up, dropping it off, anything like that. Your ship to, that'll be the actual location that machine is going to end up. This right here is a searchable field if you have any input to that customer's profile. Simple to go ahead and search for them. If you have none, you can add them. Super easy to add. Very important that we get our taxes right, because those will be saved to that customer's profile. And if we ever send parts to that customer's location, we're going to need to know where all this stuff is. Another thing we're going to want to pay a little bit of attention to is going to be our actual insurance and the expiration. So if they have insurance, we'll put it right there. Same thing when their insurance expires. Perfect one to go ahead and put in there. Go ahead and refer to the 102. And of course, whether the contract has been signed, yes or no, put it in there. Our next tab over that we're going to pay some attention to is going to be our availability tab. Some people will use this, some people will not. I find it useful. If we're looking for a specific piece of equipment, we can just go ahead and type in our stock number in there. Look for that piece of equipment, see what our days in, out, whether it's scheduled, overdue on a contract, or if it's in the shop. So I'm going to go ahead and select this unit. You can just select that and hit the select button. If you want to find out some more information on this specific unit, just click on that stock number. That stock number will take you to another spot. Click on the stock number again. There's a certain theme going on there. And you can go and view any information about this specific rental. So, for example, if you have any attachments or anything else that show up on here, they'll be in here. You can see any multimedia or any history of this specific machine. You'll be able to see how it came in, how it was configured, everything like that. Right. So again, I'm just going to hit that select button and pull that in there. A couple things that we need to go ahead and pay attention to. Notice your type starts out automatically as rental. It does not start out as held, and it shouldn't really go to held. Um, it doesn't start out as a reservation, which, as we discussed a little bit earlier, you can transfer a reservation to a rental. Same thing, you could transfer a rental to a reservation. We prefer that you just go from reservation to rental, but some things happen sometimes that need to change that. Your date out, make sure your date out is the correct date that this piece of equipment is going out. For example, if it goes out 17th, we're going to need to get the correct date and time in there, and when we think it's due to come back in. All right. Again, your stock item, all this right here should fill in based on a default. The default of this one is specifically 1 month. If we need to change that, that's fine. We can do that. It's just based on how we normally fill these ones in. If we need to override any of our prices, we can do so right here. Again, if you override just one price, please make sure you override the other two as well. It just keeps the system working correctly. If we have any attachments, your system will prompt you to add them in here, just like it did on the 102 video with the creating of a reservation. You will, however, most times need to go ahead and add rental contract detail. And I'm going to go ahead and add in one line, one wear item, or one wear charge. There we go, just one unit. And I'm going to do 1 month for this one as well. I'm just going to say it's $150. Of course, use the correct charging and pricing for that. Notice your dates, they will stay the same as your original unit. Everything's still rental. We are good to go. So one other thing, just like in our 102 video, we have our miscellaneous charges, which can be anything ranging from a rental delivering it to our customer for a positive one for, let's say, $300, and a rental pickup because we're going to be picking this up from them as well for a positive one of, again, $300. Just like that, easy peasy. In our comments tab, we can go and enter any additional verbiage details to print on the contract or invoice right here in this top box. Again, our top box prints. So if we'd like to tell our customer, give them a thank you, say, hey, thank you for your business, it's greatly appreciated, and we make your customer feel appreciated, that's perfect. We can enter in any RPO terms or LP terms in here. We can also go ahead and put in, there we go. I was looking for that one, couldn't see it. All of our RPO options will be right in there. Go ahead and fill in where those X's are. Just go ahead and fill in whatever needs to actually be filled in. All right, and for our internal comments, these ones are searchable too, but currently we don't really have any set up in here. If you need to, you can go ahead and just type this in. For example, there we go. And that'll be a good note for your admin. Once again, up here, this prints on your contract and or invoice. And your internal comments do not print anywhere. There are options to go ahead and have these to not print at all. But that'll be in your printing parameters. Here, I'll go ahead and show them. That'll be right there. If you'd like it to not print, you can have it right there. Otherwise, you can choose whether it prints at the beginning or the end of your rental contract. This time, your customer should be picking up that piece of equipment. Make sure your dates are correct. Once again, make sure your charge method is correct, as well as your invoice start digit. And go ahead and hit that preview button. Make sure everything looks as it should on here. Beautiful. It is magnificent. And hit that print button right here. That will print or email if your customer is allowed to do so, and send that to that customer right away. So if we're using our credit card, just hit your C. I always like to hit a save button, not entirely necessary. Hit that print button. It'll ask us, how do you want to take it? I'd like to print it. It's going to ask us for authorization. If you've ever taken a parts or service document, either one, it looks exactly the same. You hit your non-swipe button. You fill in the name that's on the card. Make sure your billing address and zip code, especially. Zip code's very important. Make sure your zip code is correct. I'm not putting in my card number because everyone's going to watch this video. You put in your CVV expiration, whether you need to save that card, and what that card should be called. That's very important in case a parts man or a service person or another rental ever happens and they want specific things to happen with this card. Make sure your details are correct here and hit your submit payment button. That'll actually run it through 2CP, run it as a credit card, and we'll process this one.
Right. Now that we went ahead and taken in that payment, now there's a few options that we have here. One of them is going to be our just hit the save, which will just save this whole entire contract as we have it. You have the option for the close button, which will not prompt for traffic in case traffic has already been completed on this one. And then we have our save and done, which will actually go ahead and save the contract and ask us to go ahead and prompt for traffic. What I'm going to go ahead and have you do is hit that save and done button. What that's actually going to do is ask us, do you want to print this one? In this case, you can hit yes or no. And it will also go ahead and pull up a rental traffic ticket for an outbound to go ahead and actually send this one out to the customer, to whoever's taking this. So again, once you create it, you have to hit the save button, save it as a pending status. After it's been saved that initial time in a pending status, you can go and put it to a received status, notifying that they have picked it up or it has been delivered to the customer. If you do use the delivery, it will make you select a trucker. In this case, you can go ahead and put in whoever it was. For example, if we're using an external, you can go ahead and put in whatever external vendor you used. Hit your save button right here. Ask you, would you like to print it? Yes or no. Some people like to print it out and because it will actually print out your hours. So actually in this case, I will go ahead and print this just to show you what this one looks like. There we go, I have it printed. So I'm going to save and exit this. Oh, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this one more time. There we are. So I have both of those printed. I'll go up here to my PDF. And there's my rental contract. I'm going to go ahead and check out my delivery receipt right here. Here we are, just to show you what this one looks like. As you can see, it shows that it's an outbound delivery receipt, and it does show the hour reading of 1 was delivered at whatever day that we put in at whatever time, via the vendor or trucker right there. And it does have signature lines for your employee, customer, and if so required, a driver as well.
So thank you for taking the time to go ahead and watch this training video on creating contracts. Feel free to watch any of the other videos in the series to go ahead and gain a little bit more knowledge and understanding of your rental module.